Today's session is dedicated to those days where you are feeling under the weather. I myself have been sick for the last 2 weeks with a cough, fever and all the rest of it. And that's the reason also why I haven't posted any videos. I'm basically back on track now, but I thought I would give a series of exercises that you can do when you're just coming out of that dark tunnel of unwellness, and maybe you want some gentle, more passive tips and tricks to get you feeling human again. The first thing we're going to do is using 2 chairs. We're going to explore the idea of an extension back using the backrest and an extension coming forward using the second chair. So as I say, you'll need 2 sturdy chairs, maybe a cushion, a bolster, something that you can use as a support. So maybe put me on pause to get what you need and then come back here. And if you're already ready, let's go. So we have the chairs obviously facing one another, parallel. We're not going to sit too far back, but not too far forward either, because all we want to do is place our scapula on the backrest, bring our interlaced fingers and also hands behind the head. And then from there, we're going to draw the weight of our head into our hands, opening our elbows and feeling the extension emerge, not only in the scapula, the shoulder blade area, but feeling the whole of the chest open up. Now, if you've had a cough or a cold like me of late, this could well stimulate some coughing. So if you need to come up suddenly, please remember to support your head with your hands so you can then cough. Remember that the support of the head with the hands means that you protect your neck at all times, which is quite a vulnerable part of the spinal column. So please remember that, very, very important, if little detail. So continue feeling this passive expansion. You decide how much of this you want. You can just simply let your head get heavier and heavier into your hands, and all that will do is expand that chest further and further. So feel the weight. Feel also the backrest pushing against the scapula and pushing the scapula into the chest, and by definition opening that chest yet further. This is quite strong. Don't lighten up your bottom from the chair. That bottom needs to remain relatively rooted to the chair. So really be attentive to the various weights that you're managing in this pretty straightforward position, or more to the point exercise. And then when you come up, lift your head slowly. Spend a moment maybe with your hands on your thighs like so, just reorientating the position of your body. And then from there, maybe again supporting ourselves with our hands, we're going to come and sit up. Observe your feet. Your feet should be parallel throughout this, so you've got a good control of your hips. And then from there, we're going to start to bring an anteversion into our hips, which is going to in turn allow the whole of the torso to lean forward. We're going to bring our hands onto the backrest of the chair. Please observe your feet again, because your feet have a tendency to move. We want to keep those feet parallel. Push down with the base of the big toe, base of the little toe. Central part of the heel. And feel the hips working, because the hips should be working, and they liberate the spine. And by this liberation of the spine, again, that breathing, which maybe has been compromised during your illness, gets a chance to just be. And then you can start to slide further down. Now, if the backrest is irritating for your hands or your arms, just put a towel or a cover on top. And what we don't want to do is have the sensation of humping. So be very careful. As per normal, the lower abdomen, even though you're doing a very strong anteversion here, the lower abdomen should still be coming in. And the solar plexus still is moving towards the head, so nothing particularly changes. So don't think, oh my God, my head has got to come down, and you start to hunch over. It's just pointless. Keep high. And then the other thing, which is one of my constants, is to think of the hips moving back behind you while your chest is moving in the opposite direction in front. So even in all these passive poses, we should still be thinking about those core concepts. Now, as you get into this pose, you can start to move the solar plexus yet further forward, and maybe that comes onto the cushion. But that's still not dragging my head down. I can rest my arms onto my knees and spend time feeling what this slightly deeper position does to my breathing. My head remains in line with my back, and I remain also soft with my breathing. Now when I come out, I can use my hands, I can press the ground with my feet, and again I'm wanting to come out by using my hips. And then from there I can just come back and do the same thing. So leaning back strongly, my shoulder blades against the backrest, hands behind my head. Exhale, and I just move and feel this wonderful opening up of the chest, helping me breathe better, helping me get rid of any of the toxins that might have accumulated during my illness, rendering also my breathing more efficient. And I allow my head to drop back heavier and heavier into my hands. I allow my elbows to drop further and further towards the ground. And I go deep within me into my chest to feel clear cycles, unobstructed cycles of inhalations and exhalations. And I lift my head up. And when I'm looking in front of me, take my hands to the backrest, push up. So I'm not really interfering with this wonderful extension of the back. So I keep that going. And maybe just sit up, pressing with the palms of the hands against the backrest a moment, elbows coming back behind to maintain this wonderful three-dimensional extension of the chest. Again, go back to feeling how parallel the feet are, pushing with the 3 points of the feet down to the ground to help us root down. And then when you move your hands in front, you don't in any way disturb the torso, which remains exactly the same as when we had our hands pressed against the backrest behind us. And then from there, we can hinge over our hips, bringing a forward motion. Bring our hands onto the backrest. Don't allow your knees to move either inwards or outwards. Just keep them happily above the ankles. And from there, we can slide down a little bit more. If you've got particularly good hip movement, you can go all the way and put the front part of your torso onto the bolster or the cushion, whatever you've got, maybe the chair itself. A lot of us don't have this, and we need to work high in order to maintain this extension in the back and openness in the chest. And that openness of the chest is everything well, it's everything anyhow, but it's even more important when we've been unwell and we need to recoup our losses. So if you want to keep this idea of the pelvis moving back as the chest, the solar plexus moves forward, please do so as you start to bring your head closer towards the backrest in front of you, of the chair in front of you. And if you feel any tendency in terms of humping, then just stop. Maybe you could have an extra cushion or a yoga block under your head to just place your forehead onto. If your head is in line with your back, then your head should not be feeling in any way heavy. And remember, this extension comes by visualizing the pelvis sliding back behind you and the solar plexus and the chest sliding in front of you. And then supporting yourself at all times with the hands. Come up and out. So we're onto the floor now, and I've actually changed my leggings so you can see me better. They're a lot colder, so I'm suffering more for this, but at least you'll see me better. We're going to put ourselves in Baddha konasana. So if you're unfamiliar or you can't remember this particular name, it's where the feet are together and the knees are coming out to the side. But we're going to have a chair in front of us and put your feet slightly under the chairs. And then you're going to have a bolster or maybe 2 cushions from your bed. One of the cushions put into the cushion cover of the other, so it's nice and plump and solid. And you want to put the bolster or the cushion about 10-15 centimeters behind your bottom. And then with the fingertips on the ground behind, you're just going to bring in a wonderful retroversion to come and lie back on the bolster. So the bolster has this function of, again, opening up and extending the torso area and obviously enhancing your capacity of breathing. Now, if there's any problems with the neck, you can simply grab another cushion or a block or whatever and put it under your heads. The palms of your hands turn up to the ceiling and you let the bolster work for you. So do at least one exhalation to allow the muscles, the spine, the ribs, the organs just to expand over the bolster. And feel that with every exhalation, you can get softer and softer. Now, if you're not sure of the position or you're not too happy about how you're feeling on the bolster, then it's a good indication that you need to move. And in my case, I'm going to have to move a little bit. A kind of broad indicator would be to have the edge of the bolster or the cushion more or less at the beginning of the dorsal part of your spine. So it's kind of the posterior part of where your sternum, solar plexus is more or less. And that feels much better. So when you're not feeling right, it's almost invariably because you don't have the position right. So trust your gut instinct, get out and reorganize. Now, if you've got weights, you could put weights on either thigh just to let them sink down even more. I don't have weights, but that's quite a nice idea because that allows not only for the stretching of the inner thigh, but it has implications for the broadening and creating of space of the tummy area. Softens all the organs in the lower abdomen. And at the same time as you're breathing in and out, feel that our weight, the breath, the shape that we're making, thanks to the use of the support under our body, is all allowing us to breathe easier and more effectively. There's nothing particular you have to do. Feel the entry of the breath into your nose, the coolness of the air that comes into your nose, and then from there into an open and relaxed throat. That's another thing to bear in mind. Just double check that. I say that every lesson. Is your throat relaxed? Or are you obstructing that essential oxygen that needs to enter into your body? So always take the time to go inwards and ask yourself that simple question. And then a nice thing to observe as well is when the air enters into your lungs, you feel the overall expansion plus a part of the lungs, which is the posterior part of the lungs, which presses in to the bolster and gives this increased sensation of overall expansion of the chest. So observe the breathing, observe how it changes, observe the feedback that also comes from the bolster and relish it, because it's a really nice sensation. So you should be enjoying it. And then with your hands, take your head, lift your head up. And then with your head autonomous, you can put your hands onto the ground and come up like so. And then from there, we're going to use the actual chair itself. I'm going to tilt it towards us. Grab the backrest. Maybe you can actually grab the top. I'm very long, so it's not a problem for me. But then before we do anything, I want you to think about the wheel that is your hips. We need to see if we can bring an anteversion, a forward motion going into your hips. So you're going to feel that the hips are working a little bit more intensely. And then from there, pass to that lower abdomen. Just because the anteversion is there, the lower abdomen should still consider moving towards the spine. And then what is your solar plexus doing? No doubt having your hands up high like this will help the solar plexus move inexorably towards the head. But you still have to engage the mind so that you're getting the right feedback at all times. Now, this is in exchange for doing a forward bend over and bringing the whole of your body down towards your feet. And the reason why I don't want to do that is, like before when we were working with the two chairs, there's a huge problem in that most of us just simply create a hump at the back. So again, even here, particularly being supported by the chair, where I don't have to do very much apart from concentrate on getting the solidity in my hips, I can stay up high and feel that extension, and I don't compromise the breathing, which I'll go back and repeat again. When you're sick, that's really what you want to focus on. So keep high, keep extended, keep feeling the breadth of the chest. Go inwards, feel what the throat is doing. And every exhalation, you're sitting taller and taller. And then we can start to bring that chair down. Bring the hands or the fingertips back behind you. And then now it's a retroversion that brings us yet again down onto the bolster. Palms of the hands turned up towards the ceiling. And feel how different this is. The hips are working far less, but you're still greatly rooted onto the ground thanks to those hips. But there's way more support for the torso. And here, as I say, what is working for you is the presence of the bolster under your breathing, your weight, gravity. So you can abandon yourself into this and let the elements around work for you. And then turn your attention inward towards your breathing. Feel the softness of the air that enters into your nose. If you've got a blocked nose, inevitably you'll have to use your mouth. Feel the throat, feel the temperature of the air within. Feel the expansion of the chest as air enters into that part, the lungs that are expanding, ribs that are separating, the greater pressure that your body is exerting on the bolster. So even when you're unwell, or even when you're dedicating your practice to passive exercises and postures, you should always remain present in the moment and be bringing this critical thinking and applying it with thoroughness to your body. And all the thoughts can be brought to refining your practice, refining your sensations, refining the process. And then once more lifting your head up until the head is autonomous, and bring your hands onto the ground. Coming up, feeling that now, as opposed to the retroversion of the pelvis that we did before, we're now needing to really exert an anteversion into it. We start to take hold of the chair, bring it towards us, try and get the hands as high as you can to stimulate that solar plexus moving up towards the head. But even if the solar plexus is moving up to the head, still be disciplined about that anteversion, that soft anteversion that is in your hips. Now this is slightly less passive in respect to lying over a bolster. So don't get tight in the breathing. Now make this second time we do this exercise all about the breathing. Keeping it soft, unblocked. And fluid. And then to come out, we can gently bring the chair back down. Bring your hands back behind you to support you, and maybe after 10 minutes or so of being in Baddha konasana, we can just stretch our legs a moment. And please feel free to bend your legs if there's too much stretch on the hamstrings, but make sure this neutral pelvis is doing the correct action. The final supported position we're going to do today is Upavista konasana. We'll need a chair. Upavista konasana is essentially where the legs are separated like so. If you have too much of a retroversion and you hump thanks to the wheel moving backwards, then you definitely need something under your bottom. So grab it, a brick, a cushion, a couple of books, whatever. Likewise, if there's too much of a stretch on the legs, remember, bend the knees up towards the ceiling, keeping the toes disciplined and pointing up to the ceiling at all times. You have to have the feet working. So we're going to have the chair in between our legs. Our legs can be separated as much or as little as you can possibly do. And we're just going to have the hands like so here. Spend a moment feeling the compactness of the hips, the lower abdomen in, solar plexus moving up. And then like the last position, we can actually lift the chair up And with our hands up nice and high, we can guarantee that our chest remains open, that the breathing is fluid, is unobstructed, and incorrect posture is far away. So spend a moment feeling that. So if you've started off the position with bent legs, you could slowly but surely see if you can straighten it, but not if this compromises the position of your pelvis, which still should remain where it is. Now, you can start to use the weight of the chair and gravity to see how far forward you can come without compromising either the pelvis or indeed the torso. So remember, your priority is keeping the chest nice and open. So to that end, you have to respect this straight back, essentially. So as the weight of the chair and gravity work together, this propels your body not down, it propels your body forward. So again, go back to the idea of the pelvis moving back behind you as the torso moves forward. And you don't need to bring the legs of the chair completely on the ground. Do whatever you feel you need. Do whatever you feel is going to still guarantee the integrity of your breathing, of the openness of your chest. And the head remains in line. Feel the breathing, feel your throat. Do a couple of sighs. And then you can just come up. And we're going to bring the chair literally over onto the right side. And from there, we're going to twist from left to right with our belly, leaving both our feet and legs active in the sense of intelligent feet, so toes pointing up towards the ceiling. Again, legs bent, legs straight, I don't care, but the feet I do care. So keep this twist from left to right of the belly, so you're looking at the chair, and then you can do the same thing. I don't have a lot of space to bring this chair back, but maybe you do. So keep the twist in the belly going, right to left the twist, so you're really facing front on the chair. And just keep high. If you then want to use the weight of the chair to bring the chair down and therefore your body slightly forward, do so. But again, that's up to you. Don't neglect the toes. Both sets of toes are pointing up towards the ceiling. Don't neglect the fact that this is a slight twist. You're turning towards the right leg, so you're going to have to involve the belly that's swinging from left to right. And what's the breathing doing? And then you can just come up and take the chair and move to the other side. So it's the same thing. We start off centrally first. Feel that the pelvis is correct, toes pointed out to the ceiling. And then sweeping from right to left with your belly, so you're actually facing the chair squarely. At that point, you can lift up the back legs of the chair again, get your hands onto the backrest. Keep on feeling that swiveling sensation of the belly from right to left this time. Toes up towards the ceiling, feet disappearing into the hips. And use your hands, push down on the backrest so that your solar plexus can move infinitely up. And keep on doing that as you start to bring the legs of the chair down towards the ground. But feel how the chair may be going down, but you're not. You're going forward. The hips are permanently moving behind you as your torso comes in front. And go inwards into your chest, into your breathing. And then you can just come back, bring the chair into the center. And then the final moments of today's session, just bring your arms crossed onto the chair and bring your forehead onto it. And again, this is nice and relaxed, but that doesn't mean to say flop down. Get those toes pointing up to the ceiling. Still feel that anterior pelvic tilt moving forward, and still feel that your back, that your spine is just infinitely moving away, leaving behind the solidity of your pelvis on the ground.